Alright everyone, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video here along Interstate 5 in Tehama and Shasta counties as we pass through Red Bluff, Cottonwood, Anderson, and Redding. So this video right here basically marks the end of our series here that began at the base of the grapevine there, that basically showed I-5 through the entirety of the California Central Valley here. And let me just say, I think this northernmost 30 miles is by far the best stretch of I-5 here in the California Central Valley, as it passes through like the rolling hills and the minor foothills that you see here at the far northern end of the valley. So these rolling hills that we see here in this video are basically the main reason why I separated this video from like the rest of the video that went through the main part of the Sacramento Valley here at the far northern end of the Central Valley, because these hills just really kind of separate like Redding and Anderson in the southern part of Shasta County there from the rest of the Sacramento Valley, because there's like really no agriculture that goes on through these hills right here that separate like the Redding area from the rest of the California Central Valley. And I even mentioned like too in the video that it's kind of a little bit confusing of where the actual Sacramento Valley ends and then where the Cascade foothills begin, because like I said, these hills really are not that tall. They only reach about a maximum elevation of 700 feet above sea level, and then of course the actual city of Redding itself is about 600 feet above sea level, so the elevation just keeps gradually going up as you continue north anyways. And like I said, there's no agriculture that goes on here. It's just mostly ranch land and everything like that, and cattle grazing land outside of like the main cities of Cottonwood, Anderson, and Redding. So yeah, that's just really the debate of like where the actual Sacramento Valley ends and then where the Cascade foothills begin, but there's absolutely no debate where the Cascade foothills begin. There just north of Redding near the city of Shasta Lake where the video ended. So yeah folks, that's just going to be the end of our series here on I-5 through the Central Valley. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this entire nearly 500 mile long series, and like I said, this is my personal favorite stretch here as you get closer to Redding, just because the views of Mount Shasta are amazing as you keep driving north, and the mountain only gets bigger and bigger as you continue north here along I-5, even past Redding as you start heading up into the mountains. And one thing I find absolutely amazing is even though we're about 400 miles north of Bakersfield at this point, about 450 miles to be a little bit more specific, Redding gets just as hot, if not hotter, than Bakersfield during the summer, which is just absolutely crazy to think about, just be considering like we are way farther north in latitude. We're like a whole 5 degrees farther north in latitude than we were down there by Bakersfield, but it still gets extremely hot here in the summer. So I like to think that the average temperature in the Central Valley is about 95 to 100 degrees during the summertime. You want to add 10 degrees to whatever the main temperature of the Central Valley is here in Redding, because Redding gets so hot. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Like, it can easily get over 110 degrees here in Redding during the summertime, and sometimes even pushing 115 degrees. And there's been a few instances where the temperature has even crossed 120 degrees here in Redding, and Red Bluff too. I believe that they are the only two cities north of 40 degrees latitude in the entire world that have hit over 120 degrees in this part of California, because it is absolutely crazy that a city that's this far north can still get this hot. But if you just look at the geography of the area, Redding is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, to the north, to the west, and to the east. And of course you got all that hot air from the south that just pushes all the way up here at the northern end of the valley and just sits there. It just gets really hot here in the summertime. If you guys know or been around Redding in the summertime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But even though it gets really hot in Redding during the summertime, this place is always going to hold a special place in my heart, because I just absolutely love this area, because it's basically the gateway to all of my favorite parts of California. I absolutely love the Cascade Mountains up here in far northern California, especially around like the Lassen Volcanic National Park area, and then up there by Mount Shasta as well. And then even points due west and east from this point here are just absolutely amazing. This really does feel like a different part of California, even though you're still in California. And I'm not just talking about like politically or anything like that, but just in the sense of that this is like really one of the last true places of California that still feels like the Old West, if you know what I mean. I think if you be up here and you like actually like just drive around and just like see the culture of this area, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, because like I said, this area of California is so much different than the rest of California. It almost feels like a hidden gem. And I don't know how long it's going to stay a hidden gem if I keep saying things like this, because it just seems to like every time I say something like this, it just draws people to this area. And that's not always a good thing for the locals, because they like to have things stay the way they are, if that makes sense. But this is definitely one of the few areas of California that has not been gentrified or overcrowded or anything like that. and it's just a really nice area to be in California, if I'm being perfectly honest. And then of course this place also holds a big sentimental place in my heart just because I have family up here that I like to come see every now and then. So it's just really nice to be up in this area and see people that you love and care about. Shout out to you if you're watching this video. I absolutely love you guys, and I have so many memories up here from my childhood, coming up here for the holidays and just seeing you guys, and it just really makes my heart full whenever I come to this area of California, let me tell you, and you are definitely a big part of it. So shout out to you if you're actually watching this video. But this area just holds such a big place in my heart, and I just love coming up here every time and just filming videos and just being in this area in general. It just brings so much happy memories to me that I can never express here on YouTube. It just makes my heart so full every time I'm up in this area, let me tell you folks. Redding is the absolute perfect gateway if you're looking to visit Northern California, because there's just so much to offer here in terms of food, services, gas, hotels, you name it. It's just a perfect jumping off point to anywhere you want to see in the far northern part of California up here. The last real great part of California, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, in more ways than one. But yeah, I just can't say enough good things about this area. I just absolutely love the Redding area, and it just brings back so many happy memories, and I just can't put it over enough. I truly, honestly love this area, and it's one of my favorite areas, not just in California, but the United States as a whole. Alright everyone, I just want to give a shout out to all my social media accounts that you see on the screen here, because I really am trying to grow my social media accounts beyond just here on YouTube. I would really appreciate it if you guys would check out my Instagram. I'm really trying to grow that social media platform, so I would really appreciate it if you guys would follow me on there. My username is just InterstateKyle. What's really cool about my Instagram is if I'm on a road trip, I will post on my story of where I am and what I'm doing, so it's just a really cool way for you guys to follow along with me in real time to see what I'm doing and what I'm up to. I know my videos on here can get pretty dated very quickly, so if you guys want to see what I'm doing in real time, I highly recommend checking out my Instagram, and I would really appreciate your support over there. You guys can also check out my Facebook group and my Twitter/X account. The links to all those are down in the description. Another thing I want to give a shout out to is my Patreon, which is a way for you guys to support me beyond YouTube here. If you guys want to join my Patreon, you guys can get special perks for joining, like watching all of my videos early before they are released here on YouTube. And all the money I make on there goes right back into this YouTube channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. The link to my Patreon is also down in the description, so if you really want to check it out, I would really appreciate your extra support over there as well. And another thing that is set up on my channel is Super Thanks, which is located to the right of where you would normally like one of my videos. What that basically is just a way for you guys to tip me out for each video going forward if you feel that I've earned it, of course. And then all the money on there also goes right back to this channel to keep producing more of these types of videos in the future. And with all that said, folks, I really hope you all enjoyed watching this video here along Interstate 5 as we pass through the heart of the Shasta Cascade region here in Northern California. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all have an amazing day, and take care everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to the next adventure, and we're going to see you next time.